To the breaking news out of the NBA. After another early playoff exit, Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo is now open-minded about exploring a new home. The news comes on the day of the NBA draft lottery, which airs on ESPN tonight, where we find which team gets the #1 overall pick, which is expected to be Duke forward Cooper Flagg. The Jazz, the Wizards, and the Hornets have the best chance to land the #1 overall pick, each at 14%. Cooper Flagg, the 2025 Naismith Men's College Player of the Year, is the presumptive #1 pick on most mock drafts. All right, Jay, well, I'll start with you. Do you think lottery teams should want to draft Cooper Flagg or make moves to get Giannis? Who should be more coveted right now?
I mean, well, if I'm the Pelicans, Hornets, Utah, or Washington, right, I'm going to take Cooper Flagg just for the fact that I don't think Giannis actually wants to be on those teams. The man's talked about how he wants to win a championship over the next 3 to 5 years. You ain't putting together a roster to win a championship like that with those units, right? But if I'm Houston, if I'm San Antonio, oh, hell yeah, y'all can take it. Like, because my window's right here now with the pieces that Houston has, or actually with San Antonio with the Aaron Fox and Wemby, depending upon Wemby's health. So it depends upon which team I am in the lottery and what pieces I actually have.
Go ahead, Wendy.
I would be stunned if anybody who wins the draft lottery tonight doesn't take Cooper Flagg. Instant, no matter what. Even if San Antonio or Houston win the lottery, which, by the way, San Antonio has 2 picks in the lottery tonight. Now, one of them is the Hawks pick, which is less than 1% chance of winning, but they still have 2 picks. Because both San Antonio and Houston are very young rosters. And, if you can get a potentially transformational 19-year-old versus a transformational 30-year-old, you're going 18-year-old. That's just, I think enough is thought of Cooper Flagg and his age. I think you do. Plus, the other thing is this. In the current NBA, having a star, almost the most important thing you can have, the best thing you can have is a generational star on your roster. But after that is a potential generational star on the rookie contract. That is super duper valuable. The cost of a player like Cooper Flagg for the next 4 years versus the cost of a player like Giannis is literally quintuple the amount. So in this era, I think you're going to see that. What I think would be more interesting is, let's say Houston or San Antonio, and those are the teams I'm really focused on because those are teams that if they got Giannis next year, we'd be talking about as title contenders. If either of those teams jump into the top 4, I don't think this question is about Giannis or Flagg. I think this is a question of, would you want VJ Edgecombe or would you want Dylan Harper added to your young core versus trading them for Giannis?
Well,
that is more of the question I think we might see.
Well, let me help you out, Wendy. The question was Flagg or Giannis, okay? Because it's first take, that's number 1. Number 2, Wendy, you have said this is the Cooper Flagg draft.
Yes.
Those are your words. So my point
Correct.
is there's nothing wrong with asking the question about Flagg or Giannis. Hell with everybody else right now.
Flagg.
I mean, you basically have said
Flagg.
the hell with everybody else because you said Flagg.
Flagg.
Right? So I got it. I understand that. Let me throw this out. I side with Jay on this from the standpoint that it depends on the franchise, okay? It depends on the franchise, but let's dig a little deeper and allow me to take this opportunity to use OKC as a perfect example. If you're saying Presti, of course it's Flagg, because evidently the priority ain't to win championships. The priority is to build an elite roster, rife with incredible talent, okay? A coach that nobody was thinking about but ends up being a pretty damn good coach. And, playing with house money because you got an owner in Clay Bennett that, I mean, one could argue, don't give a damn. Just be competitive. Be in the mix. Challenge. Make money. You understand what I'm saying? But listen, you can look at me like that, Jay. But I could say to you,
to come up with a win last night.
That's right. Listen, and I predicted they was going to win that game because they better have won that damn game because they lose that game, they lose the series to Denver. They ain't coming back from 3-1, okay? And I'd have been all over them. And I knew SGA would show up, all right? But here's the deal. When you are an executive, and Sam Presti is great, I'm not trying to throw shade over that. What I'm saying is I don't like the fact that somebody is in a position for 17 straight years without a title and don't have any concerns, hear no noise about the need to close. I always go back to Glenn Ross, the movie. Always be closing. Alec Baldwin, look
ABC.
it up. Always be closing, okay? And that's never closing. And we never say anything about it. That's not right. That's not right. Now, that doesn't mean he's not great. It doesn't mean that every organization in the NBA should want him to be your executive. It doesn't mean he's not a leader or anything like that. It just means like, damn, can we mention it? So with him, he's the kind of guy because you are devoid of that pressure. Now, one of my all-time favorites, to put things in perspective, Wendy, Jay, to put things in perspective, even to a lesser degree you, Molly, you need to remember this. Who's my favorite owner of all time? George Steinbrenner, New York Yankees. I'm losing his damn mind. Oh, losing his because I didn't like it. Was it an overreaction? Sometimes you're damn right. But it was clear. We here to win. We ain't here to be in the mix. We ain't here to be competitive. Let's get to the second round and let's push it to a game 7. Or let's go to the conference. Damn it, we tried. No, you got to close at some point. What are you saying, Wendy? Am I wrong about that?
Wow, you mean it in an uncapped environment when you got the most money, you can be aggressive. Congratulations, great.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Wendy, you're right about that. I'm not challenging you on your points about the finances of the NBA and how that dictates everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about an attitude. I'm talking about an attitude when an ownership is looking at you and saying, if I'm the owner of OKC, at some point I'm saying, I appreciate the job that you've done. You ain't got nothing to worry about. I really do. I love you. Here's your extension. But you gonna give me a ring? At least once? Are you gonna give me a ring? We never asked that question is what I'm saying. And if you're in ownership like that, of course you'll take Cooper Flagg. Of course you'll pass up on a Giannis because it's not a priority. It's to be in the mix and compete as opposed to winning. That's all I'm saying.
I respect what you're saying because what you're saying is if you don't win, it doesn't matter. And I agree with you. I respect that. In 2025, and I know that this is nuance and nobody wants to hear it. In 2025, you have to be careful in the NBA by going and getting like a big salary player that is not a big salary dominant guy. What a team like Oklahoma City is worried about is turning into the Milwaukee Bucks, where their assets are gone and their franchise player is still in his zone because in the apron era, that's a serious concern. It is now happening to the Denver Nuggets.
Can I ask you a question, Wendy?
Well, you're going to come back and say that Denver and Milwaukee won titles.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That's not where I was going. You said in the year 2025. Was it that way in 2017?
No.
Was it that way in 2010?
No.
Sam Presti has been there since 2007. 2007. Jay.
What you want.
He was 29 years old. He was 29 years old.
What you want is you want Oklahoma City to consider taking 5 draft picks and 2 or 3 of their best young players and getting Giannis and compressing their window down to like maybe 3 years as opposed to what they're trying to do, which is 7 to 10.
Did I say that? I didn't say
No,
that.
Wendy, I think he just wants there to be the result of having a championship for having 17 years under
That's
the belt
it, Wendy.
which is a
That's all I'm saying.
Argument.
I'm not saying I would not, Wendy, just so I'm clear, I would not give up my core young players and 4 or 5 draft picks even for Giannis. If I'm Oklahoma, I would not do that. What I am saying is that it wouldn't even be a thought at a place like OKC because this man who has been at the helm for 17 years doesn't have one championship to show for it. Do I need to go through the laundry list of great
But they have traded
he's had?
They have made star player acquisitions. They have traded for Paul George. They have traded for Carmelo Anthony. It didn't work, and that's why they pivoted the other way. Now, you can say that they should have done something else, and that's fair, but they tried star chasing. They've had a bunch of MVPs on their roster. The star chasing didn't work. They're trying to build something long.
You're assuming I'm just talking about players. Listen, I respect Scott Brooks. I respect Billy Donovan. I respect Dagnall, who I think is a hell of a coach. The reality of the situation is there have been times in Oklahoma City's tenure under Sam Presti where people have questioned whether or not those individuals were the right coaches at particular times to help deliver a championship. So in other words, it's not just about the personnel you accumulate. And oh, by the way, even if they were to give up 3 or 4 picks, how many damn picks